Having too many dogs is one of the biggest problems facing our communities today. The root cause is often layered and complicated, but we can work on what leads us to accumulate dogs in the first place and find solutions to better living for everyone involved. Megan is a 34-year-old breathwork instructor living in New Orleans and working for a studio. She has dreams one day of staying at home with the children she plans to have and doing breathwork from a studio at home. She's married to Joel, who works outside the home, and he also wants children in the future as well. They've been together for 5 years, and they each brought a dog into the relationship. Megan brought Ringo, and Joel brought Molly. After about 2 years, the dogs were doing really well together, and they talked about fostering from a local rescue. Very soon, they had their first foster fail. At this point, 3 dogs became almost a full-time job for Megan, who decided to take a step back from doing breathwork full-time and just put in some part-time hours so that she could spend more time with the dogs. With Joel working outside of the home, most of the responsibility fell on Megan to take care of the dogs during this time. As Megan got into the groove of having 3 dogs and the responsibilities that come with that, she got some devastating news. Her brother was killed tragically in a car accident, and there was nowhere for his beloved dog to go. Megan and Joel quickly decided that they would take in her brother's dog. With 4 dogs, it became nearly impossible for Megan to get everything done so that all the dogs would have their needs met and continue with her goal of being a breathwork instructor who had her own studio. Joel and Megan realized that instead of having the family that they initially intended by this time in their lives, they had a different kind of family. And instead, it was with 4 dogs. While they loved their dogs so much, they realized that this had put them off course for having children. Even the thought of bringing children into the home was too much for Megan to handle. As much as Joel tried to support her, he was gone for many hours out of the day, and Megan realized adding children to that was not going to be something that she could mentally or physically handle. Like so many well-intending people today, they derailed their own original goals by collecting more dogs. Sometimes dogs fall into our lap. Sometimes they arrive to us through tragedy. Sometimes it's just an impulse decision. The reality is that no one held a gun to our head and made us take a dog or multiple dogs into our home. If your life sounds a little bit like Megan and Joel's, this day is for you. What happens when you realize that that sounds like you and you've gotten in over your head? It doesn't really help at that point to overanalyze the reasons why you got there. I mean, it's nice to know them so you don't repeat them in the future, but the reality is you just have to change a lot of stuff. And acknowledging that this is not ideal, but I'm going to do my best moving forward, because that's how life is. Life is not ideal, ever, hardly ever. I mean, you get to a point where you have inner peace, and that will give you contentment in a variety of situations. But life is never what you think that it's going to be. And so, I didn't think that I would have 3 different children with 3 different men. I would have never in a million years thought that would have been something that I did, but it happened. And I've been able to find all of the wonderful bonuses and benefits of that and look at it from that lens. And it's also driven me to be responsible for my children by myself without the help of anyone else. And at times, while that was really stressful, there is benefit to that. I did learn a lot from that. So if you have a lot of dogs, a place I want you to start is to remember you're going to get all my courses for free, to go to the multi-dog household course. I just want you to watch 1 video every single day. If you can watch 2 videos a day, that's great. But I was thinking about this on the way here. When you have something as complicated as having multiple dogs and there's behavioral issues, for me to say that there's anything other than you diving into this at a level that's more than you probably want to I would be remiss to do that. It's not a good idea. There is no way out but to learn what you need to know. And that is not going to come in a couple of videos. It's not going to come by watching a 10-minute YouTube video. It's going to come by doing what we do to learn this stuff. And what we do to learn this stuff is we watch a lot of stuff and we listen to the trainers that we trust and we review their fucking curriculum and we learn it and we do it. That's the only way through this. It's the only way through recovery. It's the only way through parenting is to learn what you need to know and to make sure that you don't keep stepping in the same pile of shit over and over again because you refuse to learn and you're just okay with how it is, which for some people, that's going to be the best that they can do. And that might be you. I don't know. I don't think it's like I don't mean to, it's not to sound like a judgment because people are in all kinds of different places. Some people are ready to change and some people aren't. But as we discussed yesterday, everybody that finds me is generally pretty ready to change because it's going to be really unpleasant for them here. If they're not, it's going to feel uncomfortable the same way that when you go into AA, that's why so many motherfuckers feel uncomfortable in there. It just makes me think about drinking. No shit, number one. Number two, you'd be thinking about drinking anyway, you liar. Because that's what we're all thinking about. It's uncomfortable because change is in the atmosphere, and the only way to change is through discomfort, is through facing why am I so deeply uncomfortable, and what do I have to do because of this feeling? This feeling is pushing me towards a greater version of myself. So, what you're going to do is you're going to go and watch the multi-dog course because it's wildly inexpensive and it's a person's entire training, including all of the in-between things that are said. And that's where you learn about dogs. It's not by me showing you that I scattered with both of these dogs individually. Duh. And then I had to bring them together. Duh. Like we all know that. That's common sense to think that. It's about all the in-between conversation that her and I had, her fears, her concerns, what she thought was going well, what she was still worried about. All of that stuff is you. The details may be slightly different, but it's you could see yourself in there and you can do all of the things that she's doing and have success. So there is a path to solution. Or you can do one-on-one training. That's always available for everyone. But obviously I want to offer what's the most affordable and accessible to people first. Okay? So the topic of accumulating dogs is deep and long, and I think it's layered, and I think it happens for many reasons, but I can tell you the age that I am now, I feel that it's appropriate for me to say this. I watched my mother's generation have children, and that's where they found their fulfillment and purpose. And I'm just speaking for my experience and experience of those like me. It was, they were born like in the late 40s and 50s, and so their mothers were 1950s housewives, and so you can imagine how that impacted them. And my mom was super independent. My mom was living in Washington, D.C. in the height of the civil rights movement alone, like just graduated high school from Kansas and was like, what up, D.C.? Like she was still very, very fiery and independent, but she was a really great mom. She was a really great wife, and really good at domestic stuff. And they took pride in that. They took pride in their recipes and winning like little food competitions and pie competitions. That's probably really super Midwest and South, but but this generation of women, so my generation, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, so their daughters, we just went wacko with the animals. We just went out of control with the animals. We figured out that we didn't have to have kids, which was good for us because many of us do not need to have children. And that does not mean anything about the integrity, our character, our integrity. It doesn't mean anything. Some women don't need to have children because they don't want them. And I know why, because I have them and I get that it is it's a different life. There's pros and cons to both. So what happened is we want to give that love and we want to nurture and we want to do those things because it's part of who we are. And there's nothing wrong with that. But we realize that we don't have to buy into the responsibility of being with a man forever and having this kid and doing this sort of robotic housewife thing if we don't want to. And so I think many women that became directed towards things that they could have in their life without that massive a responsibility or having a relationship with a partner in that way. Also, nothing wrong with that. But I think we've gotten out of control. I think that because children are such a responsibility, when you're feeling some type of way, you don't go, I'm just going to get a kid, and then you don't pop on Craigslist and start searching around for fucking kids. You know what I'm saying? But you can just go right on over to the pet store and get a bird if you're feeling sad. And that's what we're doing, and that's what we've done. We feel a feeling in our hearts. We don't know what to do with it, and we go and get a fucking animal that we're not prepared for, that might be one way it happens. Another way it happens, maybe the story that you guys listened to today. Maybe a person had an amount of dogs they could kind of deal with, and then somebody in their family passed away. That happened to my family. That's how we always had 3 dogs, was because my grandparents died and we took their dog. So there's lots of ways. It doesn't always mean it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. What matters is stopping and going, wow, did you just eat all your food from last night? We're getting ready to go outside. That was a fucking rookie mistake. I should have picked that food up. He's like, it doesn't matter, bitch. I'm going to eat the chicken. Let's go. So there's reasons why. I don't want to make it sound like everybody's just in their fifis and then they get an animal. But the reality is that is what's happening. So I get upset when people talk about, well, backyard breeders are ruining this breed. And I'm like, you okay? There's lots of things that are contributing to the problem. But as a professional that's been in multiple different lanes in the dog world, from vet med to training to behavior to handling and showing ABKC, I think what's ruining the breed is the people that are getting them. I think what's ruining the breed is that they've become, I'm finding it, I'll tell you a story, and then it won't be so rude. They've become the Stanley Cup of the dog world. When you come out with your slippers and your Stanley Cup, they've become the mini blazers. You guys, when stuff gets down to basic bitch level, we're in trouble. When basic bitches start having, we're in trouble. That's my opinion about what happened. And I don't mean, you know what I'm talking about. When the average soccer mom starts getting pit bulls, we're in fucking trouble. We're in trouble. And then people get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dogs. Europeans guffaw everywhere. I try to explain it to Europeans all the time. I'm like, you guys, please stop comparing what you're doing over there to over here. It is fucking Wild West over here. You could have 8 dogs if you wanted. My neighbor's a police officer and is breaking the law by having those dogs. No one cares. No one's going to do anything. He has 5 dogs. And they bark at everything all the time. You know, no one cares. No one's going to do anything because this is America. They just don't do that over there. They're just not gluttonous over there like we are over here. We're just a country of massive, massive, massive gluttony, and we do it with a lot of things. And I think sometimes it's the well-intentioned, but I think a lot of the times it's because we just don't have consequences for it. And you know how we be doing things. We just go out and do stuff until we have a real bad consequence, and then we don't do it anymore, and we don't really have that when it comes to dogs. You can fight dogs and really not have a lot of consequence. You could have a fighting ring for like years and be a professional athlete in the public eye, and no one really even cares. And then you just do like, you know, a couple of quick community service things and beep, boop, bop, now it's cool, bitch. You know, like, no one cares. So, it's just, this is another awareness topic. This is just one of those difficult topics where you sit with however this made you feel. I've had multiple dogs at a time in my life, and never. That's an opinion. That's what I can do. Other people, I think it's totally normal to have 2 or 3 dogs. I think it's normal in some situations to have 4 to 6 dogs, just depending on what your life is like, and if you're working them or things like that. Like one of the Tulsa Pack trainers has like 5 or 6 Aussies, but she lives on a working farm and they all work. So that's totally normal. Like they all have a great life, you know, great. Their training is impeccable. That's great. But the reality is the average person that has more than 2 dogs is struggling. They're struggling with at least something. They're either keeping the dogs separate, or the reactivity is now starting to be this sort of contagious kind of thing, and they can't walk them all together, and you know, that's it. So a step you can take is to just start watching and find out why, and all of the training is in there. Every single moment, every single step of the way is in there. You just got to follow it. Okay, last thing. Tomorrow we're going to talk about decompression and how important it is for your dog to have the opportunity to do that. And so this is what I use. I'm just going to show you guys. These are a little bendy. I got a couple of them. One of these, this is actual dog bone broth. The reason I use that is because I fucking hate cooking. I probably could have said that without using the F word, but I went ahead and did it. I don't like cooking. And regular, like, people broth a lot of times has onions in it, and like onion powder and stuff like that in it. Dogs can't have that, as you know. So we're gonna put all of that in here. One gets you a whole thing filled up. Oh my God, I didn't know there was some over there. That was funny. And then I'm just gonna pop this guy in the freezer. It'll be ready for us tomorrow. These will be cute little frozen broth popsicles. The other thing I do sometimes is in the bottom, before I put the broth in, I'll put canned food in there, and then I'll pour the broth on top, so that there's a couple different things. There's tons of different ways to do this. Okay, let's go on our walk. And I'm gonna warn you, the camera quality may not be great, but it's gonna be good enough for you to see what I'm doing, and I'm gonna try to be quiet. Ugh. Good. Here we go. Now, some people, before I start going, I just want to tell you, some people will be holding, and by some I mean all of you, unless you've been here like years and you know what I mean, your dog's on like a long line or something, or a drag line, but most of you are going to be doing this, okay? So what I'm going to do is put this through here so that I can hold the camera and I can still give him food. Here we go. And then eventually I'm going to let this drag just for ease, like, because some of you might be on a long line and I want you to see how that works too. Find it. And we're going to go down the street and back. Or actually, maybe we'll go by the Schnauzer. Here we go. Come on. Ready, catch. Good job. Find it. Someday I'm going to have a camera crew. Won't that be cool? Here we go. You got it. Ooh. Wardrobe malfunction. Back pedal. Find it. I don't think I brought a poop bag. Oh, okay, I have one. Okay, if you're on a long line, let's take a peek at what that'll look like. So you just have a big line dragging, and then, you know, of course it's attached to you, but it's the same as having a drag line for this exercise. Ooh. Ooh. You're going slow. You're going slow. Side shuffle. Oh, look at him going. Find it. I always give him a snack after he marks. Because marking can be a sign of increased arousal, and to learn more about that, you can watch my Managing Arousal series 2 and 3. Oh wait, no, that's a lie. That's in Recall. Just kidding. You can learn about it in any of those. Okay, I'm going to set this down for just a second because I got to show you something. Oh, let's go to the shade. Okay, so there's something that I do that's really specific, and I do it obsessively a lot, all the time. And for people that have been doing backpedaling for a while, your dog probably responds to this as well. Come on, Sweet Pea. Like that if we're walking. Come on. Forward. And I turn around like that, he immediately starts getting ready for me to throw it. You can kind of see him like get his little stance ready. So I turn around a lot when we're walking and do my back pedal, even if I'm not walking really fast or backpedaling really fast. It's just a signal to him that like, hey, a reward is coming. Come on, we're almost at the end. Good job. Come on, buddy. was about to throw.
Oh, great dog.
Oh, thank you. He's working for chicken.
Oh, man. You'll be working hard.
Yeah. Come on, buddy. Good job. Oh, Lord. Quarterback, you suck. Pitcher, you suck. Good catch. Find it. Oop, we better go back. We're running out. Okay, now we're going to walk back. And this right here should be mastered before you guys try to start going around. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't walk up and down your street, unless your street is like so chaotic that it's too much, which I've actually seen that happen. Oh, come on, Leland. God, I'm not just going to keep delivering snacks. Well, okay, I am. That was a lie. I am. But not there. Not in that location. Do you need some water? Do you need some water? Do you want a drink? I'm walking straight forward, by the way. I'm not backpedaling. I'm just holding this to the side. Like, I don't really care if he, like, walks in the middle of the road or because if someone comes, I'm always paying attention. Always, always. Like, my head is on a swivel out here. I can see, I'm always paying attention. And it's increased my sharpness and my awareness and my focus to pay attention to that many things, that many things at the same time. It's good. It's been really good for me too. It's good when you put so much intention into making sure that someone succeeds every moment of every day. Like, I don't know a lot of people that have a dog like this that's 7 years old that hasn't been involved in some incident. And we've never had, I mean, not even remotely, has there ever been a moment where I was like, I don't have control of my dog and he's dangerous and he might hurt somebody or something. Like, that's a real achievement when you have a dog like this, because it's so like, society's busy and there's a lot going on. Come on, Leland, pick up the pace, sir. Okay, I'm walking forward again. Look at all this fresh water. Do you want some of this water? Yeah, that's super fresh. I don't know exactly the plan on that, but I guess they're draining their pool. Just drink the water. Oh, God. I don't have any more. Do you want some water? Okay, whatever. You let the chicken overcome you. Can't even get a drink of water. So it's pretty uneventful. I like our walks to be really more about like the same feeling that you get when you like put a nice outfit on and you go strolling around downtown. And people are like watching you and you feel good and you look good. That's mostly what our walks are about. Like, for him, you know what I'm saying? For me, I'm just like wandering around. It's lovely for me because I'm either just listening to nothing or I'm listening to a podcast or something or my book or, whatever. And for him, he's just like, look at him. Any other dogs that live out in the world like that? They're just going around everywhere they want, probably not even on a leash. And they're just wonderful all the time. And everybody loves them. I mean, what a life. You know what I'm saying? So our walks are really more about, what are you doing? Don't do anything weird. I'm saying nice things about you. Come on. Do you need to make a poop? Come here. Yeah, that was good.
He's like, who are those people? Do they want to talk to me? So I'm going to backpedal. Here we go. Here we go. Look at this. Come on, bud. Come on, buddy. Good job. Good job. That was perfect. Find it. Good job. Come on. He wanted to go over there. Come on. He likes people. He likes everyone, really, unless you're like a cat or a squirrel and he doesn't like you. And by like, maybe he does like it, like more of like in a mouth violence kind of way. Catch it. I don't know if that was me or you. Come on. That's it. We're back. And we can go long, long ways like that. We can go all, you see how they get ready? Because they know you're about to throw it. He knows. You're stepping on it. And look how much he's paying attention to this and not every single thing that's around him. And so now he benefits from everything that's around him. It's adding to his life. It's not making it worse. He's not overstimulated. He's thinking about chicken. He's having a great time. You know, this is fun. Mom's out here. The cicadas are going. Or locusts or whatever. That's a cigarette button. We don't do that. Yeah, good job. He's catching chicken. He's sniffing. If I didn't have chicken, he'd be sniffing a lot more. But chicken's like his favorite food. And we haven't done any cheeseburger recall days for a while. So I thought this would be good. See, he stopped because he saw it in my hand. Come on. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Get it. You don't know. Yeah, you gotta be on point. You gotta be paying attention. I tell him that all the time. You gotta be paying attention. You don't know. Mom's gotta mix it up. All right, everybody, practice down your street, your respective streets, your respective American and Canadian streets. And I'm gonna see you tomorrow, where I'm gonna tell you a fascinating story about the guy I just dumped. And it's my favorite story of the whole time. It's my favorite story of the whole time because it never happened to me before. And immediately I knew how dogs felt and I was like, oh my God, I gotta tell this story.